Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Full Conversation, put on by the Reclamation Project. Want to thank them for partnering with us and giving us this opportunity. It's a Saturday night affair where we're going to testify of what God has done, what God is doing, and we're going to hear some testimonies of determination. We can hear some testimonies of God's intervention. And tonight, this very first one is one that's near and dear to my heart, and that is justice. You know, everybody deserves justice. And so tonight we have David Harrison. I hope that I got that last name right. I'd be messing up last names sometimes.
No, that's right, Harrison.
All right, my man, Dave. I just been calling you Dave since last week. I was in Toronto, Canada, when we tried to shoot the first week. But I think it happens. I'm one of those people. It took me a long time to decide that everything does happen for a reason. And
I don't know the technical stuff either that well yet, but I'm getting on. But I know that happens sometime. I've been doing
absolutely, man. So it's so good to be here with you tonight, man. You're looking crispy in that shadow gray, man.
And you too. And I like this better. This was
thanks, man. So good, man. Well, I tell you, it's a lot to dive into tonight. But tonight, again, you're the first guest on the Full Conversation, and here we have dialogues and we have monologues. All right, so don't feel any way if you diving into a story. Go ahead and go all the way in because we want to know, really what happened here, and
conversation.
The full conversation, man. We're gonna have to if it take us an hour or whatever, man. We have to have a part two. We want the full thing. So, man, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get a little bit more into what we're here for tonight. But just tell us a little about you and where you come from and all that good stuff.
Okay, my name is David Harrison. I'm from Oakland, California. I was raised in the Fruitvale district, 23rd Avenue, most of my life. I'm a 70s baby, so I came up through that era. I've been in music for a while. I've been doing movies and different things like that in multimedia. And who we talking about? My little cousin Willie. He was a rapper. And they had a group called FBG. So I was managing them. I was managing Saul's team because I was doing movies. We were putting product together. And Willie just was doing some things. So, and then this tragedy took place.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about you some more because some interesting facts that you mentioned there. So you said the Fruitvale district. Is that the famous Fruitvale station? From
not far from there, but
okay.
I stayed with they call where I live at. They call it the Murder Dubs.
Okay, why do they call it that, man? What's the Murder Dubs, man? Help us understand.
And, you know what? It was all good when me and T grew up there. It was all good. I mean, the family thing. I mean, you still had everything that everything else had, but what we had that was different was it was a family element. There. I mean, that our parents were strong. That was during the Panther era.
Okay.
So there was some structure.
Let's go there a little bit. It's funny you say T, but everybody don't know who T is unless because this is a new audience right here. So we're talking about Terrence. Terrence from TR. He's part of the dynamic duo of TRP, right?
Yes, sir.
That's your cousin.
That's my cousin. Okay. So he was like, "Cuz, we got to get it out there." I was like, "Yeah, man, I've been pushing it everywhere because, when people don't know that when these OIS cases take places and OIS is an officer involved shooting. When they take place, the first thing that happens is that the police give their account of what happened.
Gotcha. And now let's be clear. You're referring to your cousin Willie's case, but
any
case.
Any OIS case. Anytime, and I know a lot of these parents. Tamira Rice's mother, I know her. I know Richard Richard's mother, Ronell Foster's mother. I know the Monterosta sisters, Stefanti Clark. I know all the families. When you're an impacted family member, all the families, and you come quite acquainted with all of the stories, and you get to see the real evidence behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive in then, man. Let's dive in a little bit because I do want to come back to the Panther statements. You I didn't want to slide by that, but we're gonna come back to that. I figured, let's go ahead and dive
There's a lot
into.
to cover.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and pull back the covers a little bit and look at what happened. So tell us what happened in the story with your cousin from your recollection. I mean, I know what the news says, I know what YouTube and everywhere says, but from your point of view, your POV, what's the story here? Tell us the story.
Well, it's not actually a story. We actually had a truth now. We know what happened to Little Willie. It was some cops. It was six of them. Could have been more on their way, but they were a part of that. They call them the Fatal 14. They were an officer gang in the Vallejo Police Department in the VPD, and what they were doing was a gang initiation, initiating cops into this gang.
Mm-hmm.
And Willie was just a blood sacrifice, if you will, because
Mm-hmm.
if you can watch the video for yourself, you'll see it was like a firing squad. This,
Mm-hmm.
Willie was asleep. He didn't know what hit him.
Well, it seemed like an opportunity, is what it seemed like. An opportunity to go ahead and unload on somebody.
Well, not really an opportunity because I mean you got to think about it. Before Willie, they killed
Mm-hmm.
Rodnell Foster, and people don't understand they killed Rodnell Foster. They shot him several times in the back, and when he tried to crawl away, the cop walked up behind him and shot him in the back of the head. I mean, he wasn't doing nothing but riding a bicycle. He was beat with a flashlight, hit with a stun taser, and then shot in the back, and then walked over to and shot in the back of the head. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they just executed him.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, the difference between those cases, and it's a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
Ramos, if you look at the Sean Monterosa hit, because you actually see the police do a drive-by on this man. He never
Mm-hmm.
got out the car. And I get back to that, but I think better to cover it, and you can ask me some questions. If I tell you
Sure.
exactly
Take your time.
what happened with Willie,
Mm-hmm.
first in the beginning, Willie's car, you got to understand, Willie, they could have gotten the car. One of the things they said, we couldn't make entry to the car.
Mm-hmm.
We were taking time to devise a plan, but everything happened so fast. Well, the video is right in your face. You see, they walked around that car for over 30 minutes talking about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you know what to do. Now, knowing what we know now about badge bending, if you watch that video, you can see him saying, call it out. And other cop is sitting next to him like, call out what? Gun. See right there, there's a gun in his lap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh,
Call it
oh,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
He the one. You're being tapped for initiation. See,
Mm-hmm.
just like in a sorority or fraternity,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you don't go sign up for these things. They tap you. They're being tapped. Yeah, you in.
That's your moment.
It's your moment. Either you're gonna seize the moment or you're not.
So
And
that's what badge bending is called. That's what it is.
that's what it is. It's been over 50 years of this, man.
Wow.
And there's evidence. People who knew,
Mm-hmm.
like the district attorney knew, the
Mm-hmm.
mayor knew, the
Mm-hmm.
police knew. These are
Mm-hmm.
all people who ran for the hills. The city planner, they knew they ran for the hills. The the,
Mm-hmm.
the people don't even know a month after Willie was killed in a Taco Bell drive-through, that Taco Bell was torn down to the studs, and they built in a month and built a Starbucks there. They don't know that the passenger window on Willie's car was busted out. The police could have just pushed the plastic and opened the door.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that Willie never had a gun on his lap because not in one of those videos you can see a gun. There was never a gun.
There was never a gun.
Do you see one? I've been offered
No.
$1,000
No.
on the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole for anybody who can show me a gun.
Mm-mm.
I
Didn't
give
see
you
one.
$1,000. You know, but and then it's just all of the stories like Mario Romero. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they shot him like they did Willie, and when the clips ran out, one cop jumped on the hood of his car and reloaded and emptied the other clip
Clip. Yeah.
through the
Yeah,
windshield.
what I found was really interesting was how the last officer that showed up ran in just to offload one shot, and then he would have offloaded more, but one of the other officers accidentally or stepped in his way or some technical term he used. But and then the other one was how many shots the all the officers ended up taking, and they all said, oh, maybe 5 or 6 or 7, but they had done like 14, 13, 10.
Right. And the cop
Mm-hmm.
that shot one time is the one who killed Ronell Foster. See the connection?
He had to get his shot in.
He killed Ronell Foster. He was going to get a double bend. He killed Ronell Foster February February 13th of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
February 9th, 2019, he was that man who took that shot for Willie. Now, here's the interesting
Mm-hmm.
part.
All
They
right.
fired him not because he killed Willie and not because he killed Ronnell Foster. And these are open cases. Well, Ronnell Foster not now. They and Willie they've shut his they've not prosecuted
Mm-hmm.
criminally now, but I'll get to that. But they fired him because he put two other officers' lives in danger,
I heard that.
shooting between two officers. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, why wasn't Jared Todd fired for shooting from the back seat through the windshield with two officers sitting in the driver's seat and the passenger seat when he killed Sean Monterosa? He was on for a whole year before they let him go for some other dirty thing. And then you got people, you had Michael Nicolini who was fired for destroying evidence in that case. He
Mm-hmm.
destroyed the windshield of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Most people don't know that they went a month after they killed Willie and they went to the city council and voted out drug testing for police officers. They don't know that when they shoot your people 15,
Mm-hmm.
20, 30, 55 times.
Mm-hmm. It was over 30 times he got hit, like 38 times.
Yeah, but they shot him. They shot 55 times at that.
55 times total, yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you, and people don't know, and I've been battling with that. Me and my family, like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to, because me and my father, may he rest in peace, he passed not too long after that.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
Him and my cousin and I unzipped the bag, the body bag,
To see.
to see what they did to him. Oh, it's awful what they do to us, it's something that you never forget. And like I said, I came up in an era where it was a lot of Panther pride going on, and so
Mm-hmm.
I really I have to stand firm on issues like this. They
Mm-hmm.
murdered Willie along with a lot of others. There's some that we
Wow.
the ones we
So
know about. There's others we don't know about.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What was the deepest or the biggest thing that you discovered as you've gone through this process of seeking justice for Willie? What have you uncovered that you feel that you want people to know about?
Okay, so let me start here. The night that Willie got killed, me, my father, my cousin, we all went to the scene of the crime. When we got there, the police had formed a real blue line in front of the crime scene, so we couldn't see past anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you guys? Are you the family? Yeah, we the family. Well, we trying to see what do you? I said, well, we want to know if that is my cousin because we know that that's his car. But sometimes somebody else will drive the car. He's not. He'll let people drive his car. He wasn't tripping.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was like, "Well, I only talked to one of you." So I said, "Well, go on, cuz, talk to him." So we were sitting in earshot. He said, "Well, the only." He said, "You the brother?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, man, the only thing that I can tell you, man, is I can't tell you nothing." And they stayed there, and we stayed there until they towed the car off. Now the funny part is, they put a gun on the internet, and the gun was a silver gun with a wood handle, and every report that those police gave, it was an all black gun.
Mm-hmm.
It was all black. But now you got this. And the picture is with the gun on the ground. Uh it's daytime, you know what I'm saying? Willie got killed at night. It was raining. It was dry on the ground. So, it's just a whole bunch of inconsistencies and stuff. Nothing looks like it looks in the video, but then again, people don't know that these officers have qualified immunity. They don't have to tell it. It's not against the law for them to lie on the police report. That's nothing. They have to be go before a federal grand jury to be
Mm-hmm.
impaled.
And this is the kind of stuff that you're discovering as you're looking through the story, as you're looking at the law. So what else did you notice about the law that really allows this kind of behavior?
Well, again, the officers have a very powerful police union. They
Mm-hmm.
have the Vallejo Police Officers Union. Like the dude Nicolini who got fired for tampering with the evidence, destroying evidence in the Sean Monterosa case. So he was
Okay.
fired, but then guess what? He was made the president of the Vallejo Police Officers Association. He's part of the union,
Mm-hmm.
the president. So you got to understand that these people are power brokers, and you and I have, and people that come from where we come from have bullseyes on you, and it's all criminal. Everything that they do is a that you would think that a regular person would go to jail for it. These officers have done it, and it's not just them; it goes higher than them. You know,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of dead bodies out there. But in Willie's case, it was like we can't let this go because it's too blatant. Look at the video,
Mm,
show everything, everything's shown. And the funny
mhm.
part is when we left away from there, we was all bewildered sitting in the car because we didn't know what happened to Willie
Yeah. All you know is Willie's gone.
because they didn't tell us nothing. We don't know whether who did it, whether they shot him, whether some
Somebody else shot him.
yeah. But
Yeah.
people was talking like they did him wrong and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So when we left away from there,
Yeah.
the car, the whole car was quiet. And I
Hmm.
told him, I said, they murdered Willie. They executed Willie. I said they executed him and they were doing a gang initiation, initiating police officers into a police gang. And they told me, don't ever say that again.
Hmm.
We don't know nothing. We'll figure it out. This, that, and that. I said, all right, cool. So a year and a half later, the lawyers called us and told us, you know what? You was right.
Yeah.
And it was even it's worse and it could be very, very worse.
Mm.
Everything that you were saying and more. And then Open Baleo dropped all of the stuff and they did the investigative report and everything came out. They was connecting the dots that most of these officers were Oakland riders that they came from Oakland during the riders era,
Era.
migrated. So, yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of
Let's
stuff.
talk about that a little bit, because again, some of the terms you've used, I've loosely heard from certain movies, documentaries, things like that. But when you talk about the Oakland Riders, we were talking about that before we started recording. Tell us a little bit about that era and what that all entailed, and really what came out of that.
Well, like the in this era, the hip hop era, they call them the jump out boys. What they would
Okay.
they had because when we were younger, they had task force.
Mm,
When task force was different than the Oakland Police Department, and then you had housing authority who also had a housing authority task force. Well, these guys they would be up out all night on their shift, getting high, and chasing down niggas chasing down people in the
mhm,
street
mhm,
and planting drugs on them, beating them up, stealing their money and their drugs.
mhm.
And it was a lot of that going on, and they was even killing people, same as they doing on
Yeah.
sale. So it just turned because then federal oversight came because
Mhm,
they were under a lot of scrutiny. Because
mhm,
of that, it was a big case. A lot of people got
mhm,
paid, but in the end, the officers end up being acquitted on
mhm.
that. But they had enough to go with, and they got acquitted. And they was now they, but one cop ended up fleeing. He went back to Mexico and was off the radar.
Mm.
And so
So let's be clear. Everything you're saying, there's enough evidence out there to prove that these things are
come on,
true.
come on. My
Yeah,
application is not for politicians no more. I did all
yeah,
that with congressmen,
yeah.
politicians. My application on this show and any other show that I go on is
Mhm.
just to inform our people.
What the reality is out there,
The reality is
and,
that
and what is that? What I mean, in cold hard terms, what is that reality, man?
man, we all think we got some rights, man. We ain't got no
We
rights.
don't have no rights.
Man,
Mm.
anytime that they can shoot you in your head, shoot you 55 times while you sleep, or shoot
You
you in
ain't got no
the back.
rights.
Yeah, they shoot our kids. Tamir Rice was playing in the park with a
12 years
toy
old.
gun with a toy gun with an orange tip in an open carry state.
Hmm. He should have got. I mean, it wasn't. Dude jumped out like he was in Wild Wild West, slid
He didn't
across the
even jump
hood.
out. He did a drive by. Come on,
Mm,
he took
mm,
he did a drive by too. He drove by. He shot him before he got out the car. And then they tackled his sister when she came to see about her little brother. So you wonder why we traumatize in this community and our kids, and they don't listen
yeah.
because you really parents, you don't know what's going on out there because you're
Hmm.
front lines. One of the sad
Hmm.
things is that there's a lot of impacted families out here who are not
Hmm.
united on this
Hmm.
journey for justice because there have been different things placed in the middle of this fight, like
Hmm.
BLM for they collect all this money and then the family
Hmm.
nothing to fight with. They get ran out of town. They're being terrorized by police because that's what
Hmm.
happened to my family. Like there were 3 people in my family assaulted by these police. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Uh,
What did they want your family to do? Just drop it? Stop
they don't
looking.
want nobody talking about this, man. They don't want nobody to talk about this because this is too real. Because it's a lot of stuff. Because now you got to answer the question: how did who let this go on for so long? When you see how rotten and corrupt it is, it's like
Hmm.
who has let this go on for this long? You don't think that
Hmm.
the governor knows about this, or the president, or nobody knows about this? The AG,
Hmm.
the attorney general, and the district attorney for Solano County were playing ping pong with the Willie McCoy murder case and the Sean Monterosa case. Nobody
Hmm.
wanted to touch it. Nobody wants to prosecute police officers, right?
Hmm.
Because guess what? The VPOA, the Police Officers Association, they pay the district attorneys. They pay
Gotcha.
they pay
They make sure that money flows through the courts,
well
that
no,
cases are going through.
they pay their salary. They don't get a
They pay
check.
their salary.
Yeah, they pay their salary. You get a check.
Okay. Okay.
So she said, I have a conflict of interest.
Uh,
I can't prosecute the case. Well, why can't you prosecute the case? Well, because I have a conflict of interest. What's the conflict of interest? The conflict of interest, the only excuse she gave was that the people, my constituency didn't have faith in me making a
mhm.
proper decision in this case. People,
Mm.
my voters, and that's all I care about is my voters. And they didn't think I had.
Not making a difference. Just care about the voters. That's sad,
I'm not
man.
gonna do, so I'm gonna do nothing. So she did nothing. And then what she did, and then he said, and the attorney general said, "Well, look, you got to do it. You can do it. Then you ain't got no conflict against you. Do it. I can't. Throw it back to him. He's supposed to."
Excuse me.
So they call in an outside
Hmm.
prosecutor.
Hmm.
So this guy, he's running from sexual harassment allegations and everything from San Bernardino County and
So
stuff.
he ain't paying attention.
He trying to get out of town. He dodging. So yeah, I'll take it. So he goes out here. He's the outside prosecutor. He finds that he could find no wrongdoing in these officers, that they were legitimized in what they did when they killed Willie. So there was no prosecution there.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't nothing to file. He didn't want to file criminal charges against these officers
Yeah.
because he found they didn't do anything wrong. So basically, this guy never even looked at the videotape. He took the police report that badge benders wrote.
Hmm.
People who did this to Willie wrote these reports, gave it to him. His investigation is based on the reports that they wrote.
Hmm.
So now they throw the case out. This is how they play. And so
Hmm.
now we sitting here and we fighting because now this badge bending is out. But you don't want to release this badge bending report. We need this
Hmm.
badge bending report released for the public can see this, to understand that these cops have been, not only if they kill people like that, you don't think that they'll doctor up paperwork behind the
Heck yeah.
backyard deals. Well, it's not about them. It's for the people and by the people, and it's up to the people to come together and say this is the case where we have proof,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we are going to be unified, organized, and we will begin to strategize to put boots on the ground to make some
Hmm.
significant change in the system, because the system
Hmm.
right now is geared to work to keep us down and work against us. It's not doing
Hmm.
anything as far as social justice and giving us some type of justice, because
Hmm.
I look at all of these mothers on the front line in this justice fight, and
Hmm.
they're warriors. They're vicious and
Yeah.
they're warriors because they
Yeah.
lost the child. But the
Yeah.
shame in it all is there's no men on that front line. They don't want to deal with that type of pain and that type of hurt. And I
Hmm. They got emotion and etc.
you gotta put all that to the side. Now you're a protector.
Hmm.
You're a lion.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you got to look at the disarming of the community and a lot of other things that go along with it that will make
Hmm.
raise your eyebrow when you see Lil Willie's video, how they did him,
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
they did Mario Romero, how they did Nehemiah Strong, how they did
Hmm.
Anton Barrett, Mario,
Hmm.
Angel
I
Ramos.
mean, when I look at Willie's story, and I really like combed through material because when I saw the first video, it all came back to mind. I was like, I remember this story, and I listened to the investigators talk to the officers, and it was so leading. You know, there were so many red flags here, and then you wonder why justice can't be served when there's so many red flags. And they you heard. I mean, it doesn't take an expert to realize that this was a setup. It didn't have to be handled this way. If that's how police are if that's how officers are trained, if they're trained to handle situations the way they did, then I'm scared for all of us. But for people of color in particular, you know.
And not to mention the lack of accountability in this case. And and this is the thing, it's not that they don't have the knowledge and they don't know, it's that they don't want to know. And here's the move with that, right? So this badge bending stuff didn't come from me. this came
Okay.
this came from a 25-year veteran, a captain with an unblemished record in the police,
Hmm.
in the Vallejo Police Department. He
Hmm.
gave a federal grand jury testimony and told
Hmm.
about them bending badges and drinking alcohol and celebrating
Hmm.
meals afterwards and
Hmm.
doing ceremonies. He
Hmm.
put that together. Now these other officers start telling their stories about when they got their badge bent and who bent it and then who bent his badge. So it's a lot of that going on too in testimony.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's there. So for Krishna Abrams, the district attorney, to say to the channel two, I think that was Channel Two News, KTVU, to
Hmm.
tell this anchor woman, she asked her, she said, "Well, why didn't you, uh, well, why didn't what's going on with this badge bending stuff? What's going on with the investigation?" She said, "Well, we don't investigate rumors." Do that sound like rumors? A 25-year veteran, cops talking about who bent
Yeah,
this,
that's not.
bent that, where the chief of police is already noted as saying that he collected 10 in an hour and said, I can't go get them fixed because it's going to draw attention. All this is testimony
Mm.
that you can get is public record. But we ain't looking for that. And this is the thing about this fight that disturbs me. Like our people, we can show up in droves to go to a
Mhm.
Warriors championship parade downtown.
Mhm.
San Francisco.
Mhm.
We could go buy up all of the $150 jerseys and enjoy ourselves, but
Mhm.
we're not gonna stop this gentrification, our people under bridges and houses, our
Mhm.
kids being murdered, being
Yeah.
laid off and no work and people don't care, like you just don't count. We're
Yeah.
not gonna get there by parades. We need
No.
soldiers with boots on the ground marching. And I
Mhm.
know that it sounds crazy, but we ain't had a real march. I mean, justice or else would have sound real good if it would have been a million men out there with guns in their hand, but we don't.
Mhm.
We're disarmed. We too
Mhm.
quick to give them away. We too and not quick enough to hold our families together, hold each other
Mhm.
accountable. Let's teach gun safety. Let's make sure that they don't mess up their rights before they get
Mhm.
to a certain age.
Mhm.
We need and elders.
It sounds like we need what the Panthers stood for, what they really stood for. We really still need that today.
We need it.
Education, feeding the kids, taking up for the making up the slack for the families.
Why do most people do crime? Because they need to eat. But if you
Mhm.
teach us how to eat to live and not live to eat,
Mhm.
like some of the elders have been saying for a long time,
Mhm.
I don't care what background you come from, you got to sit down for truth. What's the truth?
That's right.
I start with the mirror, and I look in the mirror and I say, I'm a little upset. I'm a little excessive now. Let me
Mhm.
start laying off in certain
Mhm.
things and stay away from certain energy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because I'm trying to gravitate to a high energy attraction so I can
Mhm.
attract my people because everybody know that the word said whenever there are two or more gathered, there I am in the midst.
Mhm.
So I
In the
think
midst.
the only thing
We
and
want that Shekinah glory in the mix. Let me ask two questions with that. One is, so what have you been doing since Willie's death that you feel has been effective, or that you just feel like if you stay that course, it's going to be all right. And also, where's the church been in this? The Christian church,
uh
or even the Muslim brothers and sisters. Where has faith been in this situation?
I'm an SOG. I got brothers that I have personal relationships with. I don't adhere to the buildings, no churches, none of that, because
Mhm.
God dwell in houses and temples built by the hands of a man.
Mhm.
He in the
Mhm.
soul of a man. The man,
Mhm.
man is a reflection of him. So
Mhm.
when I see people who are heartfelt and they don't look at Willie damn like they got another one. When they look at Willie like, man, that's my brother, that's my son. It could be my
Mhm.
oh my God, they did that baby like that. Those people, we got to do something about it. That's my brothers and my sisters. Come on, let's ride.
Whoever they are.
To do whatever we
Mhm.
got to do because right now we ain't not doing nothing. The murder, it ain't like they stopping no time soon. We seeing it every
Mhm.
day. You know,
Mhm.
you can pull up a million different videos of black men being murdered unarmed in the street, but you can't pull that many of a police getting killed.
Mhm.
You can't pull that many of them, and you can't pull that many of them just white people or Chinese people or other ethnicities in the street being
You
harassed.
know,
Stuff you
I
don't see that a lot.
I was watching a video from somewhere in New York, I think it was, of the Hasidic Jewish neighborhood, and the police were trying to arrest one of them, and they would not let the police arrest this guy.
I
They
love
were they were knocking the police upside their head. They surrounded them, pressed them up against a car. Their hats were falling off, and the dude like they were like, "You're not taking him without proof. We need to let us see the
right.
proof."
You could be kidnapping him from the street. I mean, got a badge of
Yeah, and they did not, and the officers did not pull their guns. They did not do any of that. So it was a stark reality. You can look that up on YouTube if you want.
well,
Orthodox
yeah,
Jews, fight police to stop their friend from being arrested.
right. Hey, look, if we all for one for all. If it
Yeah.
would have been like they was that day when there was a brother holding his phone up talking about, hey man, I used to be a Marine. You don't do that like that. You can't do that. Man, come on,
Mhm.
man, you're gonna hurt him. No, man, put that phone down, mush him off. They call back up, get on the phone. Hey man, y'all come from 85th Street, 166th Street. Come on down here. They call, they back up, you call your back up. No, ain't nobody moving. We know we right.
Mhm.
We standing on truth. That's the
Mhm.
thing. Um, I think that they do it because they can get away with it. Because we don't have they do it because they can get away with it. Because it's just like, to them killing us is like us stepping on an ant. We don't think twice about it.
Mhm.
And they don't think twice about it. And they really don't. And I'm sorry to say it. People say, well, you saying about all police. Well, any police that can stand by and they're in an organization and not tell on the other one that's doing that
Mhm.
as bad as him.
What kind of reform would you like to see in the system? Because I mean, you mentioned you're not talking like one decade. You're talking generations of violence. I mean, what we know about what happened with the Panthers was horrible. It was intentional. It was government. I sat on the plane on the other day heading up to Chicago next to a retired federal agent who became a school teacher and then principal as she had kids. But they recruited her and her husband straight out of their college. They recruited them after Hoover died because Hoover, she said, and this is her, this is an older woman. She's like in her late 70s, early 80s. And she's telling me, she says, Hoover would not allow black agents in the FBI, the Federal Bureau.
Hmm.
And prior to that, I guess is when all of the stuff went down where, they really, it's known now that I'm not making up anything. It's known that they infiltrated the community with drugs. They
Yeah,
they turned people into informants, and they really destroyed, an opportunity for the community to rise up. These people were raising the community up, but
right.
that doesn't make people wealthy. You got to have a war on something. A war on anything creates wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm listening to everything that you're saying. Do you know how many
Mhm,
warriors and soldiers that are behind the wall, like Matulu Shakur, and how
mhm,
long they locked up Huey, and all of these freedom fighters and Geronimo Pratt, and
mhm.
all they wanted to do was feed some black kids breakfast, give them breakfast so that they can
That's what they were doing, man. They were
go.
feeding them breakfast.
And they wanted to make sure that if you arrest him, but don't misuse him
Yeah,
because he got family that he need to come home to, like our brother.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and if you harm our brother, we not gonna beg you to do what's right. We're gonna come get you. So
yeah, yeah.
so we was taught as kids, don't you come home and crying, talking about somebody didn't hit you and you didn't hit them back. Go back outside. You better get your get back. They taught us that as kids. Now
Mhm.
the parents are saying those same parents said, no, you just stay away from them. You know that's gonna be what it is and be what it is. See, that's still Jim Crow type of behavior going into another another going into another matrix of this same thing,
Mhm.
but except it's disguised with, YouTube and net
Mhm.
shit like that. Excuse me, and stuff like
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
that. We're teaching our kids basically how to be good slaves because the mother don't care. She's putting them in front of the programming. She don't want you to see them
Mhm.
out to the community. She just wants you to pay for them for them to live. That's it. This is the culture that we've been given through the music, through
Yeah.
imagery and different things like that.
Mhm.
I say, hey, why don't we put a standard on our own stuff and start our own thing,
Yeah.
provide our own programming? Why don't we put a cap on households? Why don't we make sure that when you have children with a man and you and a man have children, for the man and a woman, uh if you don't kind of work out, that's okay. You're not doomed to stay with a person that you don't get along with or you don't have anything in common. But if you have kids, let the boys spend most of the time with the father and the girls spend most of the time with the mother, if
Mhm.
both of those parents are fit parents.
Mhm.
Provide that.
That's a whole nother topic right there. Fit
Right,
parents.
right. But
Mm. Mhm.
but I'm gonna tell you how that equivocates to a lot of these kids being unarmed by police.
Mhm.
Happening because they're going out there with a mind with a baby mama mind, complex
Mhm.
mind,
Mhm.
into the real world where people will kill you, and the police always
Mhm.
want to kill you. But when you give them the opportunity and the
Mhm.
piss him off good enough, he's gonna murder you. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Mhm.
just the way it is. And just to think about it, you don't even gotta piss him off. You just gotta not follow the script. Pull over in a lit area. Make sure people around you don't do the stupid stuff that's gonna get them on you.
Mhm.
And then knowing what the right things is to say. Nothing at all. I don't have nothing
Mhm.
to say. Am I under arrest or am I free to go? Okay, do your thing.
So tell me this: what's the latest
Well,
outcome with
what,
Willie's situation or any of the cases
well,
that are high profile?
I haven't been uh we just been we just been waiting for them to like release the report because we want all of this stuff in the trial. So if we go in and we proceed now without them producing all of this evidence, then we won't be able to use this type of evidence that and
Mhm.
we definitely want the world to know exactly what happened to him. You know,
Mhm.
we don't want no money. My family's not worried about, settling for, some millions of dollars for whatever. That's not what it's about.
Mhm.
We want real reform.
Mhm.
We want real accountability, you
Mhm.
and we want justice. And a lot of people, and see, when people say they want justice, then my question is, well, what is your idea of justice? Paint it
Yeah.
for me what justice looks like to you.
What is your idea of justice then?
My idea of justice is just what happened to Willie, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So if these cops, the way that they killed Willie, and they should all go to jail and get the death penalty because they murdered somebody doing in the continuance of an ongoing criminal enterprise. That's
Mhm.
that's what the standard is for that, the death penalty. And
Mhm.
while they sitting on death row waiting their turn, they couldn't get no visits. The only visit you get is from me and my family. We come visit you. And
Okay.
you and read the word and talk to your phone and stuff till your day come up. And when your day come up, we want you to be sedated. We want you to be sedated and so that you're not really gonna feel anything. We're gonna put you in a patrol car, sit you there. And seven of my family members want to stand around that car with the same type of weapons that these officers used to kill Willie.
Mhm.
And each of my family member has a weapon. And right when he's about to awake, when the beep goes off, just like this phone did, my family members and I, we get to empty them bullets into that car. And
Mhm.
after we do that, and we want to tape all of this, we want to put this on. We see, and this is the thing: we don't want no money for your settlement. Let the money go to our people that's under the bridge that been disenfranchised, and let them get some homes and get out the cold and say they accept with that little money that y'all about to give up. We're gonna put that on on what's that the where they fight, they do boxing at where they do the boxing stuff,
The pay-per-view
pay-per-view.
live stream.
We
Mm-hmm.
want to live stream this thing on pay-per-view, okay? And you can pay $50 to watch a public execution. Now, that may sound a little extreme, but there's 7 of them. So you get to watch 7 different executions on here, $50. Boo, boo, boo. And we're going to take that money to put to the Willie McCoy Foundation so that we can start doing programs like the Blue Life Training, teaching our kids how to make it home safe, not just know your rights.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you know your rights when we got some. Right now, they
Mm-hmm.
murdering us in the street. We're gonna teach you a short way how to get up, how to get home alive. So,
And that's called the Blue Life Training.
called Blue Life Training.
Let's tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Blue Life Training, just what I was giving to you is a class that's teaching. Like we know how to miss the police. We older now. We know how to stay out their way. These kids controlled by uh, these vibrations in the music and
Mm-hmm.
street culture and black family culture because it's different. You know how people be talking about it's a black thing. Yeah, it's really different. We came up different. Y'all don't know about
Mm-hmm.
frying bologna on the stove without a pan. You don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about a spread.
That's
About
smoky right there.
we know about
Uh,
that. We know what it's like to have to drink sugar water and a mayonnaise sandwich. You know what I mean? We've been there.
mm-hmm.
We know that our
Mm-hmm.
first hustle was pumping gas and putting and breaking in a newspaper machine and selling newspapers to make it. So we know certain things that y'all don't know about. Y'all never did. Y'all don't know those cultures. Those were
Mm-hmm.
just survival techniques and out of being bored as children, not having nothing to do. Now these kids have the internet and all they learning is drill music. They're not
Mm-hmm.
learning how to be great parents and stewards and carry on the marathon by teaching their
Mm-hmm.
kids how to fish, how to get it out the earth for real, how to plant some seeds.
And that's coming down the pipeline big time right now.
And that's what
The need for that kind of knowledge.
we want to teach them how to do aquaponics, how to grow food and grow pesco, grow fish, and grow herbs and
What
vegetables.
you talking about? Urban agriculture, man.
Yeah, we want to get into that.
Uh,
I think that it's time that we draw a line, and I don't think that we're gonna ever get any reparation from these people because this is not a people that feel like they've done us wrong. They feel like we deserved everything that we got.
mhm,
This everything you're going through, you brought it on yourself. How did we bring it on ourselves? We didn't hop over a wall to get here. We didn't apply for citizenship. You motherfuckers
mhm,
y'all kidnapped us and
mhm,
brought us here. And now our
mhm,
ancestors, we don't even know our last name or who we could really be marrying our cousins and don't know. This is the type of trick bag that you got our people in.
yeah, yeah.
And then a lot of us go to these buildings and we Jesus and Allah and all these different religions, but we don't even
Mhm,
know if that's really our true religion because, or if that's our really true beliefs because we don't know our own traditions. Like,
mhm,
and the reason I say that because I think about the brother R. Kelly. Now
mhm,
I know he's guilty of. You know,
mhm. You gonna go with the art tonight? Go ahead. Let me hear this.
I understand that that
Mhm.
lay down with a few groupies. Look,
Quite a few. Yeah.
what superstar that's out there has it? They didn't arrest
Mhm,
they didn't arrest Elvis for marrying his wife as an underage girl, Jerry Lee
mhm,
Lewis. None of them.
mhm.
What's that? The direct.
Somebody said they should have arrested the parents because the parents seem to have been putting their kids on them to fulfill whatever financial dream, whatever they had in a lot
It's,
of cases.
well, write them a
You know,
ticket. It's the culture.
write them a ticket, my lord.
I'm just saying. It's
No,
just
I hear you. I hear you. I'm hearing you.
because they say, well, how can you say that? And it's little girls that's being molested. Listen, the
Mhm,
videotape I seen the girl take a wad of money from in that video and put it in her bra. That's old school. She been doing this for a while. I'm just being real.
mhm,
You know, she been on the corner or whatever. And so listen, in a moment of weakness, they in them areas, she ain't no business being back there anyway. But whose problem is that? She's out
mhm.
here doing these things because she has no parental
And that's what
guard.
we're getting back to. We're getting back to we need some parentals going
Right.
on.
It goes if you was on top of your kid, they wouldn't be here to be with you are.
Mhm,
So write him a ticket, you know, don't give him 30 years. You know what I'm saying? I
mhm,
mean, if you're gonna give 30 years, then you got to give it to everybody. You got Roman Polanski, who his wife was murdered by Charles Manson, but he was molesting, and I mean not molesting, molest raping. like forcefully beating up people to take their goods. A little girl, thir- 13.
The list goes on, man.
He's not in jail for 30.
Mhm.
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
he's still receiving awards for movies that he did. So why you want to do Bill Cosby this way? Why you want to do Mike Tyson? Don't you see how it's happening to all other people that we look up to? That don't make you raise your eyebrow when you say, "Dang, why Tupac? Why Mike Tyson? Why they got to be rapists?" They tried to get Morgan Freeman. Now, this is the cold part. I watched the conversation he had with the newscaster. All he said was, "I sure wish I would have been there to see that." How was
See
that?
what? What was he referring to?
He wasn't even talking to the chick. He was talking to Alan Alda because he said that he asked a woman, telling her a story that he asked a woman. He said, "Oh, when are you due?" Because he thought she was pregnant, and she said, "What are you talking about? I'm not pregnant." And then he said, "Oh, I wish I would have been there to see that one." And she said, "Look at his eyes, look at his eyes." And I'm like, "Really?"
They was reaching. Is that what they were doing?
Man,
Stretching it.
putting something on a rich black man. Come on, man. I read deeper than that. That's why I knew what they did with Willie a year and a half before it came all out. I knew already. When six police pulled me over and said, "Yeah, we pulled you over because your tag's gonna be due in another 6 months." I said, "Well, they ain't due now."
I know. Why would they pull you?
You need to see my driver's license and registration. No, Daddy, we know who you are. We know where you live. We know where you work. Oh, that's the warning.
Hmm.
But see, I'm too stupid to be scared. You know what I'm saying? I can't be scared. None of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna do it anyway.
Hmm.
That's how I work from.
So now that I know you said it's going to require people to step up.
Yes.
What organizations have you partnered with, or any of that you feel is helping you to get down the road here?
Well, what we've done is
Mhm.
created our own foundation in Willie's name, the Willie McCoy Foundation.com.
Okay.
And we've created that foundation in hopes of getting funding to
Okay.
to pursue this in another area to where, finally our people can see some real justice.
Mhm.
What's been happening, what I've been looking at is been them giving us a crumb of justice.
Mhm.
Not even a crumb, just here, take this and shut up type of justice,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And it's no amount of money. Because see, what we want change. We don't want change.
Mhm. We want change.
Yeah.
Uh, I was going to ask, how can people donate to the foundation?
Oh, they could go to the Willie McCoy Foundation.com and you can leave a donation there, you know,
Okay.
for our foundation and it's a lot and it'll show you about all of the programs that we're trying to get together to offer to the community and things like that.
Mhm.
Um
Mhm.
it's bigger than the money to us.
Mhm. There we go. There we go.
Money.
Our executive producers are in the back making it hot.
Yeah, you see.
Making it, yeah. There we go. That's a nice logo, man.
Yeah,
Willie McCoy
yeah, me and
Foundation.
my cousin Corey and my cousin Deb and my late father William Harrison. We all this was
Put
our
that together.
we put everything together and we've been fighting
Mhm.
since, and that's how I'm here. I'm able to be here to articulate a lot of the things that's going on in the movement and why Willie's
Mhm.
so important. This case is
Mhm.
so important because everybody you watched a gang hit murder on video and they put it
Mhm.
out. They put out so many smut films. And people
Mhm.
don't know what a smut film is. Let me explain it to you.
Go ahead and tell them.
A smut film is not a, a nudity film. A smut film is
Not pornography, yeah.
not pornography. It's when you get to watch somebody being murdered on video. You get to watch
Live or otherwise, yeah.
the actual murder.
Mhm.
And that's what a lot of these people have a fetish for that and they join these organizations. Um, we don't have our own Black Rifle Association. We should have that. We don't have our own BIA, our Black Intelligence Agency. We don't have that. We got to depend on other people to do things that we should be actually doing for self.
Mhm.
We should have things
Absolutely.
like that. And like you said, what could be done different? What could be done different is instead of having, having these officials doing oversight on what should be prosecuted and what should not be prosecuted, we
Hmm.
should have a community oversight in those communities where these crimes take place.
Yeah.
And there should be impacted family members who have lost somebody to OIS shootings
Hmm.
by police off by police.
That's on the committee or heading up the
That's
committee.
getting that
Let,
pay.
let me ask you two things then, as we kind of bring it home here. Um, Police reform. I know your version of what should happen to those officers. I just stayed quiet and let you share. That's
Right.
because I wanted to hear. That's how you really feel, and you know what? People should be able to express how they really feel. You feel there should be an eye for an eye. What they did to him was wrong.
Well, no,
What other reform are you seeing? Would you like to see in the way that police interact with people in general, but specifically because we know there's a history of bad behavior when
okay.
it comes to dealing with, like, what would you like to see? And yeah, and the other question I'll ask, I just want to remember say it so it's out there, and that is when it comes to how this has impacted you as a man, as a black man, as a family member. Tell us about that as well. So what would you like to see, and how has this impacted you? Those are my two questions.
Okay. Which one you want me to ask? The first question or the
You
last?
you go for it, man. Whichever one speaks to you
Okay.
first.
Um, the thing that the thing that really impacted me about this case, or where it's took me to, is that I feel personally that I have those thoughts like, man, what could I have done to keep Willie? Because see, most importantly, I'm doing this work because I miss Willie. I miss my father. I miss him. We lived together. He was a kid. He was in diapers running around me. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
And to see him living his life and doing the things that he was doing, I was looking for nothing but greatness. He was on, you know what I mean? And
mhm,
coming where he came from, if you're not a hater like me, you congratulate people like that, and you support them, and when they move,
mhm,
they doing something, and they bringing people with them.
mhm,
So I was very supportive in the move with him. I feel bad because I wish that I could have did something to prevent him from being there that night.
yeah,
Um, I just couldn't be. You just can't be with people like that,
24/7.
right? The type of police reform that I would like to see is that the way that police officers, when they pull you over, how they approach you in the beginning. First of all, it should be professional. It shouldn't be them approaching you. Hey, what gang you from? Are you on parole or probation? What's your PFN number? No, it shouldn't be an uncomfortable, situation, when you come in contact with law enforcement. It should be the same way, like how when you ride with your good white friend, he don't know what it's like to be accosted and to be racially profiled. He's like, "What are you doing? It's just the cops." You don't know. My cousin got shot reaching for his driver's license. It's that easy. So I like to see
Mhm,
it change because they don't ask him, "Have he ever? Is he on jail or probation? Do he have any guns and narcotics in the car?" It's not
mhm,
the questions that they're asking to the common citizen. But when they see
mhm,
us, those are the questions that they ask. And if you say anything that's a little jumpy, he moved, he was aggressive. Because see, you got to understand that their protocol is all they have to do is say that they was in fear of their life when
the
they
fear of their life, yeah, danger.
right.
Wow.
And you being black is aggression already because you come from these circumstances. And so these are the type of things that we're teaching, that we want to be inside of this blue life training for our
Mhm,
see, hey, look, you don't got to prove how tough you is. You just got to make it home safe. So you
mhm,
say yes, sir, no, sir, but you don't have nothing else to say. You don't give them the details about nothing. It's not your business. You're not the police.
mhm,
You trying to
mhm,
get away from them. You trying
mhm,
to go back home to mom and daddy. Well, you ain't got to worry about your mom and your dad. They trying to pitch you and put you up against somebody because that's what they do with COINTELPRO. That ain't got your kid killed, got him involved in some gang stuff. You see, this is what's going on out there because they the biggest gang ever. They control all the gangs. It ain't no gang happening unless the police say, "Oh yeah, I'm finna," and I can get the stuff to them and get them moving. That's gonna get us some money, and it's just it's all a hustle to them. You are nothing but
mhm,
cattle and a hustle to them. And all of this is going to be proven because they're doing a blood oath ritual called badge bending, where they
Mhm.
put the tips of their badges honoring the shooting of people. One cop had a gun where he had something carved in the side of it from a gangster, from a vigilante movie about a cop killing people. This is the type of stuff.
Wow.
So, and then what was the other question you asked me? I don't want to forget.
No, you answered both of them, man. I mean, you poured out on the impact that this has had on you as a man and
Oh,
how it's made you feel. And that I saw that kind of took you for a second there, man. That's
yeah, no, he didn't put it up for me, so I be hard. I be my memory. I be short time. I be having short term memory when I get to talking about this because it's so much that I want to cover that I don't want
mm,
to get. And
mm,
and then another thing I like to see change is about the drug testing of police officers. Police
mm,
officers that are involved. If you work in a warehouse and you have an accident on the forklift, you have to go and you have to go pee. Well,
mm.
why doesn't an officer who has the citizens' lives in his hands
Have
have,
to
have to go give blood or urinalysis? What's wrong with that?
or breathalyzer or anything.
Well, these cops came and it out.
And
At,
what?
they voted it out at a city council meeting
Wow.
right after they killed Willie. And
Mm,
this is when I said, it's one thing to be crooked behind the curtain while they on the
mm,
change a few zeros on the paper and you don't know, but for them to be right in your face with it, doing this
mm,
type of stuff in front of crowds of people and nothing's happening, it's a little disturbing to me. It's saying that.
mm,
And like they said, well, our people are desensitized. No, we not.
mm,
We
mm,
hypnotized. Just like on Get Out. We fall into a sunken place right now.
mm.
See all of this mass murder going on and things happening.
Yeah.
And we just want to plug back into the matrix because we don't want to deal with reality.
Where do you think we're going with all of this, with the political upheaval, the social upheaval? You mentioned Black Lives Matter earlier. You mentioned gentrification. A lot of these things, and you also mentioned the apathy. People just not wanting to be involved in it. Where do you think we're heading right now? I mean, I have my own thoughts, but I'm gonna put it on you. Where do you think the United States in particular? Because this is where this is happening. I mean, across the world, people of color are marginalized. You know, taken advantage of. All of that. But where do you think we're heading here in the United States in the next couple of years with all that's going on and all
Well,
the light that's also been shined on a lot of this stuff?
okay, well, you seen Donald Trump. He said, we're going to make America great again.
Mm,
Nothing him saying this. This is these people. He said it, but it's people inside of those government in this government that's what they want. They want to make America great again. My question
mm,
is, when has America ever been great for black folks?
mm,
Okay,
mm,
and it ain't been great for white folks lately. But when was it great for them? It was great for them when we was working for them for free, and we didn't and saying yes sir,
mm,
no sir, going through the back door, sitting on the back of the bus, uh, holding yourself until you can get home from your job
mm,
and use their restrooms. And that's what COVID did. You had to do that because I drive a truck. Okay,
mm,
I had to wait to get home to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't want you in the establishments using, oh, no, you might have a corona. That's the new reason. That's the new name for it. But you know what the word
mm,
they really want to say. And I'm trying to
mm,
explain to you that we're going back into where we live in a police state. California is quickly becoming the police capital
mm,
to where it's more people in prison in California than it is the people in prison in some countries, and the
mm,
majority of it is black folks that's up in there and Hispanic folks that's up in there. What is
mm,
that telling you? That's telling you that in a minute, everybody, all of the jobs are going to be prison jobs because we already got these anatonic video drivers that's going to be driving
The
cars,
autonomous, yeah, the autonomous stuff, yeah, yeah.
cars riding around,
Hmm.
bringing all of the freight and everything in on trucks and stuff. So you can see that coming in, taking those jobs where we don't need people. Now you see that people want to do doctor on the phone. Let me talk to you on the phone. They don't have to be at home. They don't have to see you in their office. If they want to talk to you, they can.
Telemedicine.
They don't have to. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we get into a place to where they can put you in your place without no aggression, is what that is. Now imagine being in a straight jacket and now somebody's talking crazy to you, disrespecting,
Hmm.
and you can't do nothing because they've already locked you out and locked you in. What you gonna do? And the only thing you can take your frustration out on is each other.
Yeah.
That's where I see it. That's where I see it going. And if you buck against the system, we're just gonna put you in jail so that we can make money off of your telephone calls, all
Hmm.
the rooms of wham wham, all the
Hmm.
stuff that we overcharge.
Man, that's a whole nother economy.
Yeah,
I was looking at the numbers. It's $2 million on average is how much is earned off of each prisoner. 2 million. And that's why I tell these young fellas, I said, look, and young ladies, I say, is your life worth more than $2 million? Because that's how much they're gonna make off of you if you go to prison. And
yeah.
so, yeah, I like the Blue Life Project.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, Blue Life Project.
I want to put that in effect um, and have that be instrumental in changing some young people's lives,
Mhm.
maybe saving their lives when they're in a position where it could go all left,
Absolutely,
and they make it home.
absolutely.
And their parents just hug them and say, "I'm glad you home and you safe." Instead of
Yeah.
we doing angel bursaries. Me and impacted family members, they became my family because they lost loved ones, and they
Hmm.
is my loved ones. We living proof that we all for one and one for all.
One for all.
And one thing about this movement that you asked, and I want to answer that question.
Sure, take your time.
I feel real bad about being in the movement at this time as a black man. And I feel bad about it because it's not a lot of us on the front line. It's more
Hmm.
black women, and they need to be protected. They need protection because they give their heartfelt stories about what these pigs did to their kids and how they murdered
Hmm.
and used the N word while murdering them and doing all kind of stuff that's backdoor.
Hmm.
And the cops are sitting there laughing and cracking jokes at these mothers, and these mothers go off and they looking for a reason to stun tase them on TV and do all of the crazy stuff to further show. And you say, well, they wouldn't do that on TV. Yes, they would, because all this is a show for them. This is the free Willie Lynch syndrome. So they used to have to gather a whole bunch of us to watch us get ripped apart by horses and tarred and feathered and all of that to do that mind control, to teach us to be docile, to break us. But now they have the internet. So they show a bunch of, Tamir Rice and Willie McCoy and, Stephante Clark. They show a bunch of stuff where our young black men are being murdered out there. Now you got these single mothers saying, shut up. They emasculating these men now are killing each other
Hmm.
because they don't know how to use diplomacy. All they know how to do is flip their top like a baby mama. So they flip their top, but see, baby mama gonna get back with baby daddy the next week, and they gonna fix that stuff that they broke. Now you didn't
Hmm.
now you didn't tow this man's car up, son. Now he finna kill you because
Hmm.
this is the car he take his wife and his kids to work and school in, and you just disrespected him, and now he gonna feel like he ain't nobody, he ain't a real man because you disrespected him. We don't have in the community that we need in the community for young black men is respect. We used to have the Boy Scouts and stuff when I was coming up with the Boy Scouts. Look at them; they've been molesting kids and doing all. If you
Hmm.
got a suit now and all of that,
Hmm.
we need black men on the front line of some of this stuff to step up to take these kids to teach them gun safety training. Make sure they go get their license. Uh, make sure they got their driver's license. Make sure that they got a trade. You know,
Hmm.
and make sure that they grouping up and they doing group economics with people that's in their circle that's trying to have something. Make sure they getting a piece of this pie because
Hmm.
because the goal, son, is to go ahead and put you a no trespassing sign in the dirt in front of something that's yours, so that the police can't come on there because they trespassing. No, this is private property. Stay off. And then you buy the next one over. Boom. Pretty soon we're gonna run them off the map if we all do it together. They ain't
Hmm.
found no place to step to. Then we can start
Hmm.
congregating amongst ourselves and say, hey, listen, we're gonna go ahead and create our own force that protects our people. like they created a force that protected their people.
It's interesting how when you learn how cities and towns are made and all that kind of stuff, you start to realize that it's the people that come together and form these governments,
Yeah,
these city governments. They you get a little area of land and create your own town, and now you create your own police force and collect your own taxes and all that kind of stuff. But we don't, we don't as a people know that. Not a lot of us, not enough of us. Man, I
how
tell you,
how
we
many black men that grew up with their grandfather and their grandmother in the house, where their grandfather could have gave them some game, like son, everything that I got,
Mhm,
I worked for, and I saved. I didn't care
mhm,
what nobody said, and I put my
mhm,
I invested, and when I invested,
mhm,
I wasn't going for no excuses. You know what I'm saying? It's in blood
mhm,
about what you said. Your word is your bond.
mhm,
If we don't got that, we think that the contract means something. The contract don't mean nothing. They already made up the contract. They make it.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
The form you using is the form that you got off the internet that they made. You don't think they know the back door to that, the virus to that? Come on, man. They let you have what
mhm,
they want you to have, as long as you ain't trying to get back to your people. And by that happening, you should know what the end game is going to be. It's not
mhm,
for us. So guess what? All the richest men and the richest black men in the world and the richest black women and all of you guys is hanging out, the Michael Jordans and whoever, it didn't save Michael Jackson. Didn't save
no, no,
Gonna save you because you ain't got a nickel. They can hide
no,
out a little bit, but when the people come and when the devil come for his due, he coming for his due. You got his name. He feels like that he's owed everything that you're doing right now. Everything that you are that you do, all of the intellectual properties that you have circulating on here, they all belong to that man because you got your name attached to him. And
mm,
and because you got certain individuals who know that and who want to teach their kids that, listen, when you come home from school, you're not getting on the video game. We're putting together the family dinner. We're sitting around the dinner table. You play an important part. You're going to when you go to college. You're going to college for this because you're going to be the accountant because we can't trust nobody else.
yeah,
We don't have that. These kids say, "Well, what you gonna do when you graduate? You going to college? I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. You know, I'm gonna hang
yeah.
out."
Everybody's drifting, man. We're allowed to drift, and yeah,
It can't be like Daisy right now.
can't be on the drift.
They shooting asleep now, man. Come on. They're not giving. The cop said it out of his mouth. I don't even want to give you a chance.
Yeah, I remember, just on the personal side, man. I had turned 40 years old, and I'll be 50 in September. So I turned 40 the other day, 10 years back,
Man,
and
happy
I was
birthday, man.
Hey, thanks, man. I'll be 50 in another month. So, but I had just celebrated my 40th, started getting some gray hair at the time. Didn't have this much gray hair, but it's coming in.
Yeah.
And I was driving from like Orlando or somewhere, maybe even St. Pete. I don't know, but I was heading back home to the East Coast of Florida, and I had to stop at this stop to sleep because I was tired. And I had on a suit, took off my suit jacket, just sitting there with my tie and my shirt, sleeping behind my tinted windows. But the officer, he could look through the front because the car was running, the lights were on, everything. He could look through the windshield and see me. But somebody called from the store and said there was a black guy. So clearly they saw I was black, sitting out in the car, and they wanted to close the store. And they had like the money or whatever, and they were scared to come out. And the officer came, man. He came banging on my glass, and I mean, and I cracked the window, and he was yelling, and all this kind of stuff. But he banged with his flashlight, not his gun, you know. And my response to him was kind of indignant. Like I was like, man, I'm 40 years old, man. Black man can't get a break at 40 years old. Of
Could
course,
be,
he didn't know my age. He probably ran my plates and all that before he even came and tapped on it.
but you could have been killed at
I
that.
could have been killed, and I know I could have been killed. And the stories go on and on. I'm sure you have your stories as well.
And you know what them people at the store would have said? Yeah,
Yeah,
he threw a gun and his friend ran off with the gun. They'll lie for him. I'm trying to
that's
tell
right.
you. Just look at
Yeah, and you'll never know what happened.
that brother
You'll
that was
never know what happened. Huh?
jogging and went into the abandoned house. You know, them people would have weaved up a story if they didn't have that video.
That's right.
Now
I
we
tell you,
got
man, it's time for change. It is time for change. I know change is on the horizon. I just don't want to see people get duped in the process because you know what? What's happening to how people of color and poor people included, poor whites and otherwise included, have been exploited in a lot of ways,
Oh,
exploited for the legal system, exploited, plundered for money, etc. A little bit of, etc. But now it's moving from exploitation to where you will be considered irrelevant. So times are changing, and I feel bad. I don't want to see our people even drop further behind in the situation because we don't understand what's coming down the pipeline. So I applaud you for the programs that you're working on. I applaud you. I encourage you. I would like to see in the future as you get down the road, or maybe if there's some ways that here at the Full Conversation we can support your efforts for the Blue Life Project, because I think that's important. Too many of our kids,
yeah,
blue lives.
yeah. Blue Life
Yeah,
training. We need to
Blue
train.
Life Training. Blue
Yeah,
Life Training. I'm giving it a new name, right?
yeah.
Come back and tell us some more about that as that gains traction. And man, it's so good to have you here, man. Any last words? This is the Full Conversation, so I want you to just any last words you'd like to share with the folk before we go tonight.
Yes, I do. Um, it is imperative that we as a people on this continent right now unify, organize, and strategize, not just to gain footing in this country, but to survive. Because there's an all-out war. Every war there's ever been, war on drugs, and when they gave it another name, it was a war on us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I want people to know that, guess what? I see a lot of people on social media talking about my family ain't this and my family ain't that. That's all we got. That's all
Mm-hmm.
our ancestors ever had. You better
Mm-hmm.
hang on to it. You better apologize and you know you're wrong, because
Yeah.
we are people who getting tired of did wrong, and it really hurt
Mm-hmm.
when we wrong each other. So my
Yeah.
message today would be for us to put the jive aside, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
get focused on this real fight, because we don't fight flesh and blood. We
No,
battle demonic spirits and principalities in the high places.
that's
Okay.
right.
And these demonic spirits and principalities are these things that we cannot see.
Darkness, man.
These laws and these crooked politicians making policy. They creating policies that, guess what? Make them be overachievers and make us be what we be talking about, man, that dude's a bum. We can look at each other and call, but man, that's your brother, man. Don't talk down on me unless you don't never look down on another man unless you helping him up. And also
Mm-hmm.
the thing I wanted to implement is that we're trying to come up and we're trying to work with other black activists and people from different denominations and faiths, black men and black women who believe in African identity, come forward. We want to create a book called the Melanated Family Code of Conduct, teaching us how to interact with each other, how to resolve confrontations and different things like that, and how to interact in the household as a man and a wife and children and the places
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. And not to make either one feel male or female, to break it down like that, not to make nobody feel no type of way. It's about the family, and it's about making sure that we survive this Holocaust, which is a spiritual warfare that we in. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't think that is spiritual, you could just look at all them demons that were standing around the car that day. Don't just look at the officer, look at his intent. And if you go to Willie's video and you look up that video, you will not walk away without saying, this was a cold blooded murder. This wasn't bad policing. It wasn't, oops, I forgot this wasn't my address. I thought this was my house, my apartment. This is none of that. This is a black man sleep in his car. The car is
Didn't have a chance.
not stolen.
I heard that too. That was crazy. The David report came back clear.
Yeah,
No issues.
they still in his car.
He,
What are you doing?
yeah.
And you could have got in. Now you know that. Now everybody, you know that they lied when they said we couldn't get in the car. When you know that
Mm-hmm.
piece of plastic with tape on the other side of the window, that they could have just poked the plastic and unlocked the door at any time. So you know they came with intent. They didn't come to tend to uh, a person who is non-responsive in a vehicle in a Taco Bell parking lot. They came to bend their badges and unleash uh, numerous amounts of shots into a sleeping black man in that vehicle. That's just the truth. That's what it is. They came to do that.
Badge bending, not justice.
So I
I
want
love
to
it.
say, I want to say justice to the sons of Vallejo, all of the brothers and sisters that have been murdered by these devils inside of Vallejo, California, and to all the impacted mothers and fathers across the United States and across the world. Uh, I want to send out my love to all of you guys. I know what you're going through. I know your pain. I love you all on purpose. This is not by accident. I'm also an impacted family member. Lost a little cousin, and I also lost my father, who was 76 years old, to a head-on collision that is
Sorry
questionable,
about that.
to say the least. And we still fueling this fight. Anybody can donate to the Willie McCoy Foundation.com. I'm glad to get on with my brothers that let me on with the long conversation, with the real conversation.
Full conversation, man. We're not holding nothing back, man.
They
We
gave me
love all people. We love all people, but we love the truth more than anything else, man. The truth is what's got to be heard, brother.
come on, man.
And
Nothing but the
and it
truth.
and anybody, black, white, yellow, red, as we used to say in the children's song, red or yellow, black or white, all are precious in His sight. And we want to, tonight, I chose, when Terrence told me about this, I chose to have this the very first conversation because this is a difficult conversation. There's some people that's not going to want to hear this conversation,
No.
but the truth is the truth, and the
Oh, this
truth will set us free.
the,
Yeah.
these people don't know that these impacted family members, when this happens to their children or their brother or their cousins or
Mhm.
whatever, it's not just that, oh, they killed their family member.
Mhm.
There's a dissection within that family to where family members aren't talking to each other right now.
Wow. Wow.
And this is not just in my family. This is in other families where things happen like that. It's a genuine breakdown in the
Mhm.
structure because people always feeling like what you could have did and what you should be doing. And hey, man,
Mhm.
I say to that, man, I love all of the families should be coming together. Put all that behind us, man. We got to start looking to the future right now to bring this to a head.
Absolutely.
It's been going on too long.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been going on too long.
Well, man, it's been real, my brother. It's been real, and I mean, I know that we will meet again. We will meet again.
There's another chapter coming.
Yeah.
We're doing the civil case is going to be coming up pretty soon.
Okay.
I hope people that they look at this and they follow that case because
Hmm.
we need support more than anything to make these people be transparent and show the truth so that they can shame the devil. You know what I'm saying? Because they should be ashamed of all the
Show the truth and shame the devil.
truth and shame the devil, man.
Shame the devil. My brother, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming out to the full
Like
conversation.
like
And as soon as you get some traction on any other phase of this, let Terrence know, man. We'd love to have you come back in. Let's just keep up on this. There are some, and I speak to anybody out there listening tonight and listening when you get to watch this podcast. Um, there are justice ministries in your communities. I just was at a convention in Orlando of justice ministries from all over the United States. They gather there, and these ministries do a lot of work. It's non-denominational. It's cross. It doesn't matter what faith walk you come from. It's just people of faith who believe in God coming together and seeking justice for others. And so, issues like the one we discussed tonight, they're near and dear to my heart because I believe that justice matters. We can get caught up in all the other titles and names, but at the end of the day, justice for each and every child of God is what matters. Again, thanks again to David Harrison for coming out tonight. Please support the Willie McCoy Foundation at williemccoyfoundation.com and also the Blue Lives, help me out with that last part of it. Blue Lives, I want to say project, but it's not project. Blue Life Safety Training. Blue Life Safety Training. There we go. And God bless you, COG. I love you. I'm out. Till the next time.